Hello and welcome. So in this video what I'm going to do is explain and show you how you can figure out how much money you're going to need to buy a home, what closing costs are going to look like, help you figure out if it makes sense to buy a home now and what you need to plan for in order to do so. So everything's going to be dependent upon, of course, the price you're looking to buy. So we're going to pick a normal price in the Lehigh Valley. We're going to say you're going to buy a home for $150,000. Okay. If you're buying a $150,000 home today and you're taking out a mortgage, which obviously most people are, I'm going to show you what kind of costs you're going to be looking at. So first cost that's pretty consistent is your transfer tax. So in Pennsylvania, you have a 1% transfer tax when you buy a home and when you sell a home. So you'd be looking at $1,500 for your transfer tax. Then when you buy a home, you always have title insurance. Title insurance on a $150,000 home, it depends based on the sale price, but typically it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 0.7% of the sale price. So for a $150,000 home, you might be looking at you're going to be looking at about $1,100, give or take a few dollars there. So that's your title insurance. Then you have taxes and insurance. Now most people, if you're putting less than 20% down, you have to escrow your taxes and insurance. So essentially, just about 1 year of taxes, 1 year of insurance is going to be held to cover your taxes over the course of the year. So at closing, that money is going to be paid. So on an average $150,000 home, you're going to be looking at taxes, depends on the school district in the area, but let's say $3,000. And for a $150,000 home, you're going to have insurance in the neighborhood of $500. Again, these will vary based upon the home, the style, the location, a lot of factors. Okay. Then you have your mortgage fees. Now, this can again vary greatly depending on your lender. If you work with a banker, you work with a good lender, like the lender I work with, which is Dominion Mortgage, they guarantee the lowest closing costs and the lowest rate. So typically I see somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,000 with a good lender for total closing costs. But you can have some lenders where you could be looking at $3,000, $4,000 coming out of your pocket just going to cover your mortgage fees. So if you work with a good lender, you're going to look at somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,000. Then you have an appraisal. Appraisal, you're looking at around $400. And not necessarily a closing cost, but an expense of buying a home. You're also going to have possibly inspections, which depending on the inspections you do can range from $350 to about $750 in inspections when you're buying a house. Okay, it's not a closing cost, but it's a cost of buying a home if you choose to do inspections. It's not a requirement, but it's very common. So if we add up all these closing costs here, we're looking at 26, 56, 61, 71, $7,500, which based upon the math there of a $150,000 home, that's 5%. So that's what I typically see as a 5% total cost for buying a home as far as closing costs, taxes, insurance, buying a home if you're working with a good lender. And again, it's going to depend upon the taxes. So 5% you're going to need to cover the costs. In addition, you may have a down payment needed when you buy a house. The most common form of financing, as we've talked about before, is FHA financing, which requires a 3.5% down payment. But we do still have access to 100% financing programs. So if you went with FHA, which as I said is the most common form of financing, $150,000 home, you'd be looking at $5,250 for a down payment, plus your $7,500 for closing costs. Now, a great way you can help offset these costs is we can actually do something which we call seller assistance, where we can have the seller roll your closing costs into the purchase price. Essentially, you're able to finance your closing costs. So you could have all $7,500 financed and only need $5,250 out of your pocket. Or if you utilize our 100% financing program, you could get into a home with literally as little as a few $100s. So I hope this makes sense. If you have questions, you want to know how this would work out for a different sale price, or you want to find out if you could get qualified or if 100% financing is a program that would work for you, just let us know. We'd be happy to help you, give you information, help you figure out buying a home right now and capitalizing on today's phenomenal interest rates makes sense for you. Thanks. Hope this was helpful. Have a great day.